Hello, 95 gamers. Today we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is that, as the title says, they have dropped the Dentist gameplay trailer, and we're gonna take a look at it. In fact, I looked at it live on the Koa stream yesterday, so I'll include that live reaction. Then we'll look through the English translations as well and kind of go over my thoughts. But the bad news is this is probably going to be the last video that I will be covering for official content in the game that isn't related to the Koa live streams. I'll probably put forth a statement about it tomorrow, but due to NetEase's use of AI, generative AI recently, I do not want to support that, and there is going to be this boycott that's going on. I think it's going on like right now. So this is something I will be most likely participating in. Again, I'll put out an official statement, I think tomorrow, or most likely tomorrow, that you guys can read about a little bit later. I'm still trying to make sure it's all set and ready. So for now, this is probably going to be the last video I have that will cover any official content covering this game until they make a statement. So sorry about that, but let's take a look at Dentist gameplay for one last little hurrah until we figure out what the heck the future of I-95 will look like. This is it. Okay, here we go. This I gotta see. This I gotta see. The new Hunter Dentist. It's in Japanese, but that's fine. That's fine for first reaction. I just gotta see. Oh, what the heck? He looks weird in game. What the heck? Who you pointing at, bro? Ew. What the mycelium? Ew. Why does he walk like that? Ew. Okay, he's kind of slow. He kind of gives me Antonio vibes. I don't know what that means, but all right. So he makes like a light... Oh, what? He makes like a... Huh? What am I looking at? Okay, so is that chip? Is that damage? Like... Oh, he can move it? Wait a minute. While he's ballooning people too? What the heck? So basically, he chooses a path for something, and then at any point, he can just like... What the heck? And it powers up with attention, too. 20 meters away, huh? That's even longer range than Goatman. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh, what? Oh my! What is this? What exactly am I looking at here? What the heck? Hey, Doc. Yo, I hope he counters Doc. Oh! Goatman? What the heck was that? Okay, so he just smacks the child. So it's a he just sets up a wall. And then uses... So that's a chip damage, but it also is impacted by the tension. His chips actually do damage with the... What the heck? And now she's locked in there. She can only go to the... What? Is that just desserts? What? Hold on. What? Yo, I wish I knew what this meant. Okay, so let's take a look at these skills here. So after a little bit of discussion with the chat in the live, we did figure out that I believe Dentist is able to use his chips, his little teleport thingy, and his wall all in his base kit. Whereas his first presence, he's able to use his little double teleport, and then his full presence allows him to like have a longer wall, or like the wall will stay up for longer. It'll debuff survivors even more, and even give them a decoding debuff. I believe that is how the presence works. So, the first trait is of course the bacterial symbiosis. The Dentist's infected arm has long coexisted with bacteria, enhancing his physical strength. While the lens is active, his movement speed increases by 8%. During normal attacks, charge attacks, and ballooning, which is pretty cool. It gives him a nice little speed buff there, because he definitely is going to need it a little bit, and stacking that with impulsive is going to be quite scary. Then we have ability Ultraviolet Radiation. Activating the lens projects an ultraviolet beam that forms a rectangular irradiation zone at the endpoint. The beam has a maximum range and fades once it exceeds 32 meters, which is farther than a Goatman 15-meter cage, because 15-meter cage is 30 meters, because it's 15 radius. While the lens is active, the dentist's attack behavior changes. He cannot change direction during normal attacks, charge attacks, or ballooning. So during the trailer, we actually figured out that this means that he can't change direction of his camera. He can actually change direction of how he's moving, but his camera cannot change the direction. So that is the only restriction, is just camera, which I think is fine. It's not really that big of a restriction if you ask me, especially since it will give you like pretty much free red light tricks. And then attacks intensify the ultraviolet beam, causing the irradiation zone to generate bacterial clusters that strike survivors for 0.5 normal attack damage, also just 1 chip. And then in the detention state, it is 1.5 times the normal attack damage, also known as like, you know, like a Joseph swing, Goatman, like regular hit with detention, stuff like that, 0.75. Charge attack extends the irradiation zone farther. The ultraviolet beam slides along surfaces for a limited distance and returns to its original position after 2 seconds. So this is like the chips that can kind of just, you know, have a bit of a range to them, which seems pretty solid. Of course, it's going to be like in these 2 different basic swing forms, how it works. And I find this to be very interesting. I think this is like a very interesting kit idea. I just really need to start seeing the cooldowns. The fact that he can use this while ballooning is definitely very interesting, because that's going to make it very difficult for harassers to actually do their job. Especially Antiquarian is going to suffer immensely. Might not be too bad for characters that can deal harassment with the pickup animation, but for Antiquarian, she has to wait until it's over, which makes it a little bit tricky, since she'll have to be pretty much on top of the dentist right at that exact moment. And like jumping to him with the flute is a little risky. It'll be, you know, the timing will basically be insanely tight for Anti, and we'll have to do it like right after the balloon animation is done, not like while we're dragging and whatnot like we normally can. So that's a little bit tough. It'll make things hard for Prospector, I think, as well in terms of harassment. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting ability that he's got here, but he also has Dental Mirror. This is also in his base kit, to my knowledge. The dentist can adjust the angle of his lens to direct light to different locations for observation. This is like his little built-in warp, essentially. Again, I don't exactly know what the cooldowns of this are, but he will be on test server soon, so maybe we'll see. But again, like I said earlier, we're probably not going to be looking at that due to the fact that I won't be covering official content after this. But we will eventually see, hopefully. Of course, we also have Dark Mire. The dentist sinks into Mire and teleports to the forefront of the illuminated area. This is the warp little thing here. This is all, I believe, at 0 presence, which is kind of crazy. And then we have Phototherapy. This is also 0 presence. The dentist deploys a non-colliding ultraviolet beam lasting 8 seconds. This is like a wall that is there for 8 seconds. His lens can project irradiation onto its surface, and obstacles within the range lose their blocking effect against UV light. Survivors who touch the light beam lose 15% movement speed for 5 seconds, and each crossing triggers a 2-second cooldown as well. So, that means you cannot go back and forth between this wall for a whole 2 whole seconds, which means he's going to be a very good anti-looping character. If you have like a really good palette or window that you want to loop, dentists can just put up that wall, and then you're going to have to walk alongside the wall. You don't really have much of a choice, which is pretty interesting. I think that's going to make dentists pretty strong, because even if he can't catch up to you in time, he'll be able to like maybe warp up to you and get a lot of distance on top of you, or he'll be able to maybe get a cheeky chip if you're caught on this wall. So yeah, dependent on cooldowns and whatnot, this is going to be quite a strong ability, which is very interesting. And then we have the ability Dark Mire Advance, which I believe is his first presence ability, which is within the first 5 seconds after teleportation, the dentist can teleport once more to the forefront of the irradiation zone. So basically, he can teleport twice for a total of what I believe is 80 meters if he uses like his full energy bar, which is about 2/3 the length of Arms Factory. He'll have no chase afterwards, but it is still quite interesting to consider, is what, you know, I was being told by my chat, at least a little bit in the live chat. So having that as your first ability along with everything else seems quite interesting if you ask me. And then for full presence, to my knowledge, this is Phototherapy Advanced, which is his wall buff. The wall increases the duration by 5 seconds, so the wall now lasts 10 seconds. And then touching the beam reduces movement speed by 30% instead of 15, which is a massive debuff. 30%, I mean, that is just absolutely huge. And not to mention, like, combine that with like peepers or something, like, oh my gosh, that's awful. And then survivors within the affected area also lose 20% interaction speed and decoding speed. So, you know, if you don't have anything to lock off at the moment, just set up this light, with this wall of light, and you can just slow down decoding. Of course, I don't know how far he can do that from, but, you know, if you're on a cipher that you want to pressure while you're trying to get to a chair, you can set this up while you're ballooning and whatnot, I think. and then you should be able to slow down that decoding just a little bit there. So, you know, Dentist has like a little bit of everything in this kit here, which makes him pretty interesting. Of course, I cannot tell if he's going to be absolutely broken. It's all going to come down to the cooldowns, because I think his abilities seem objectively pretty strong, if you ask me. And the fact that he doesn't have attack recovery through these chips can be kind of crazy as well. So we're going to have to see exactly how the energy and cooldowns work for these abilities. But for right now, I think if he's going to release with like really, really short cooldowns or not, he's going to be very, very strong. I think in general, this character is going to have really a good amount of a good amount of tools to work with, because he seems to have a good amount of pressure, and I feel like map pressure hunters, to an extent, can all be used. I mean, we see hunters like Nightmare and Wu Chong being used in tournaments, so if nothing else, I think he's going to be tournament viable just from his map pressure alone. I say that, but then there's also Hellenberg, who sucks and has map pressure, but then again, he doesn't have chase, so as long as his chase is like half decent, I think he will see play. I think he'll definitely see tournament play. Again, it's all going down to those cooldowns. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Dentist, because he looks pretty exciting. It's a bit unfortunate that when he comes out, I'm probably not going to be playing him until NetEase addresses the generative AI issues. Hopefully they make a public statement soon. I'm not really sure. But for now, this will just be, well, we can kind of look at it and just pray that it's something that we can enjoy in the future, at least for me. But yeah, that's all for today. And that's going to be all the content for a while. In terms of official release stuff, I will still be covering Koa, but after that, it is mostly just going to be alternative content on this channel. So I guess stay tuned for that. For now, I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves out there. Bye-bye.